A tripod is one of the most important pieces of gear that you should own and use as a photographer. Yet, I see so many photographers struggle to choose the right tripod, and even worse, not use them properly. Or even worse yet, not use them when they should be using them. So in this two-part video set, I'm going to demystify tripods and give you 10 awesome tips to make your tripod work magic for your photography. Stay tuned. Hey gang, my name is Joe Edelman, and my mission is to help photographers like you to develop a solid understanding of the hows and whys behind great photography so that you can achieve your goals as a photographer. This is a tripod. Pretty simple, right? I mean, how hard is it to set up and use a tripod? Back in the 1990s, I read a book called The Camera by the great Ansel Adams. To quote Adams, many photographers casually set up the tripod and use the various tilts and adjustments in a haphazard way. It is preferable, however, to be more methodical in setting up the tripod, to provide precise positioning of the camera and the greatest possible stability. Hopefully you realize that the lesson there goes well beyond using a tripod. I remember as a teenager that using a tripod was actually kind of cool. People took me more seriously, like I actually knew what I was doing, or like I was a working professional. The reality is that a tripod is an investment in your ability to take great pictures, just like a camera. So do your research and don't cheap out. To take pictures at slow shutter speeds without getting camera shake. To take photos in low light with longer shutter speeds. To use much smaller apertures giving you greater depth of field. The smaller aperture will generally require a slower shutter speed, hence the need for a tripod. To shoot a series of frames that will be stitched together in a panorama or extremely high resolution image. To create high dynamic range images where you need to shoot a series of frames at different exposures without any movement from one frame to the next. For time-lapse photography, for astrophotography, to make better self-portraits, especially on vacation, to shoot video, to slow you down and force you to be more deliberate with your decisions. There are many different kinds of tripods. For the most part, we can divide them into 5 basic groups. Pocket tripods are usually less than 6 inches collapsed. A pocket tripod will easily fit into a bag or a waist pack, and they're very handy when you don't want to carry something bigger and heavier. Pocket tripods will support the weight of a smartphone or compact digital camera. Look for one that has some sort of adjustable head, even if it's really basic. Tabletop tripods are excellent for situations where the camera and tripod can be placed on a small, flat surface. They're light, small, and easy to pack, so they're great for travel. Put it on a table, set the self-timer, and you can include yourself in the shot. Or turn your tabletop tripod sideways and place it against a wall or a pole to give you more stability when shooting. And since they hold the camera close to the ground, they're great for low camera angles. Travel tripods will usually bring your cameras to just shy of eye level, but collapse in an easy to carry size. Travel tripods will support a digital or film SLR with a kit lens, or even a modest zoom lens. Avoid using long zooms or heavy telephoto lenses on a travel tripod. They tend to be front heavy and can cause the tripod to tip. Travel tripods that collapse down to 22 inches or shorter will fit in most airline carry-on luggage. Medium-duty tripods fill the gap between lightweight travel tripods and heavy studio tripods and are usually the tripod of choice for most professional photographers. The big advantage over travel tripods is that most medium-duty models reach eye level or higher. They're heavier and therefore even sturdier. Hence, much better image sharpness when it's critical. Some models come without a head and then create a custom configuration by buying the head separately. Studio tripods are very sturdy and usually designed to fit a specific need. They are big, sometimes immovable, and nearly always used with a specialized head. They're designed to handle medium and large format cameras. There are 8 features or characteristics that are common to pretty much all tripods. The more you understand these characteristics, the easier it will be to select the perfect tripod for your needs. Collapsed size is how long the tripod measures with everything folded up. This is important if you're traveling or need to pack the tripod in a bag, camera case, or suitcase. Maximum height extension is how tall the tripod will stand with the center column and every leg fully extended. The maximum load capacity is the heaviest camera and lens combination the tripod or tripod head can handle. If you put a camera that's heavier than the maximum load capacity on a tripod, you run the risk of it breaking or collapsing and causing damage. So it's important to know how much your camera weighs with its heaviest lens and any accessories. And then buy a tripod that will handle them. The weight is simply how much the tripod weighs. There are basically 3 types of tripod heads. Pan tilt heads, either with a single handle for horizontal movement or dual handles for both horizontal and vertical movement. This is the most common type of head that is typically built into cheaper tripods. Compared to pan tilt heads, most ball heads only have one control that loosens or tightens the grip. They're very flexible and allow very smooth operation while keeping the camera and lens securely tightened. Gimbal heads are specialized heads for long and heavy lenses. Compared to pan tilt heads and ball heads, gimbal heads perfectly balance the camera and heavy lens. They're extremely easy to use in any direction and do not require tightening the head every time the camera or lens moves. They're great for sports and wildlife photography. Regardless of which head type you choose, I strongly recommend choosing one with a quick release. There's nothing more irritating than fumbling with a tripod that has a 1/4-20 thread on the head. Once you've mounted your camera, if you want to grab it to do a quick handheld shot, or even just to move the tripod, you would have to unscrew the threads from the camera and then repeat the process all over when you're ready to mount the camera back on the tripod. Depending on the brand or model, a tripod may or may not come with a head. Regardless, you will need one. Feet come in rubber non-slip pads for most indoor and some outdoor shooting, or a spike which is best for outdoor shooting. The spikes hold the tripod firmly in the ground, and depending on the tripod brand and model, you may be able to add wheels or even ball-bearing feet. Leg locks are most commonly available as twist types, where you twist the leg to pull it out, twist it in reverse to lock it in position, or lever locks, where you open a lever to pull a leg out and then close it to lock it. And there are also some custom options available. The common material is what most of the tripod is made of. The most common material is aluminum because it is inexpensive, but in the case of a heavy-duty tripod, it can also add a lot of weight. Carbon fiber is extremely durable and lightweight, but indeed more expensive. Some cheap tripods are made from plastic, the operative word being cheap. And for the old school large format shooters, you can still find wooden tripods, which are valuable if you want to get your Ansel Adams game on. I recommend buying a tripod that matches your height or is taller so that you don't have to bend to look into the viewfinder. Once you put your camera on a tripod, the viewfinder should be at eye level unless you need to adjust for a creative camera angle. Explore your camera angles before you open and set up your tripod. Since it takes time and effort to set up a tripod, and since we tend to be a little bit lazier about moving the tripod once it's set up, take a few moments to explore the camera angles and lens combinations for your shot before you set up the tripod. This way you know you're beginning with an interesting and creative camera angle. Only extend the tripod legs when needed. The less you extend the legs, the sturdier the tripod will be. Extend the thickest part of the tripod legs first, then the thinnest for the most stability. Before spreading the tripod's legs, adjust each leg's length. This ensures that the legs are the same length and your tripod will be level. However, if you're shooting on uneven ground, you will need to adjust each leg once the tripod is in the correct spot. If you're shooting outside in mud or on a beach, do extend just a little bit of the bottom leg first, so that you keep the locking mechanism out of the mud or sand. Avoid the center column. It is the weakest and least stable part of your tripod. There is no point in having your tripod solidly placed on 3 legs and then raising the center column as high as it goes so that it can move around like a camera on a monopod. The center column should only be used as a last resort. Since you're usually working from behind the camera, face a single tripod leg toward the focal point of your composition. Having 2 legs on the backside will create more stability and is less of a trip hazard. Add some weight to the tripod. Many tripods come with a hook at the bottom of the center column that will allow you to hang a backpack or weights to add additional stability if you're working in windy conditions or if your tripod is a bit too light for the gear that you have attached to it. You can also use an accessory like the Stand Daddy that I talked about in this video and attach small weights to the tripod legs. Don't move the tripod with your camera attached. Sure, just a quick little move, especially in an indoor setting, it's no big deal. But if you're shooting on location and especially working on rough terrain, Don't risk having the camera fall off the tripod or even simply stumbling while carrying the tripod. Switch off image stabilization and/or vibration reduction while using your tripod. When you're shooting with image stabilization or vibration reduction turned on, your lens generates a minor shake that is meant to counteract your hand movements. This vibration ultimately reaches the camera and can introduce camera motion in your photos when shooting at slower shutter speeds. Use the mirror lockup feature on your camera. The shake caused by your camera's mirror may not affect your photos while you're shooting at fast shutter speeds, but as you slow down the shutter speed, the shake can become visible in your photos. To eliminate this, just manually lock the movement of the mirror. This can easily be done by activating the mirror lockup feature in your DSLR. Check your camera's menu settings or consult the user manual to find out how. Use the 2-second timer or a remote shutter release. If you press the camera shutter release while shooting at slow shutter speeds, you risk introducing camera movement even with the camera on a heavy tripod. By using the 2-second timer feature, you can do away with a camera shake because you're allowing 2 seconds for the camera to absorb that minor shake before exposing the photo. If you want to be extra cautious and not take any chances, you can use a remote shutter release or a cable that allows you to shoot without touching the camera at all. So there you have it. Spending several $100s on a tripod is definitely not as sexy or as satisfying as buying a new lens or a camera body, but it is every bit as important. While you're shooting, setting up the tripod may take some extra prep time, but the results are worth the effort. You'll also have to slow down and really think through how you want to set up a photograph or what angle works best with your subjects. With just a little practice, you may find that using a tripod is much easier than you think. Next up in this 2-part video series on tripods, my favorite tripods and tripod heads, and how and why I use them. Hey, I hope you found this useful. Please hit that thumbs up and subscribe so that you don't miss any videos. And until next time, go pick up that camera and shoot something. Because your best shot, it's your next shot. So keep learning, keep thinking, and keep shooting. Adios.